In this video, I'm going to break down how I went from averaging a 2.06 return on ad spend to over a 3.38 return on ad spend utilizing dynamic creative testing. The other day in my Facebook group, there was a great question posted by Rafi. Rafi asked, what do you think about dynamic creative testing? How should I utilize your different testing strategies that you've recently taught us with dynamic creatives? He explained his strategy and was asking for an answer regarding what I thought on dynamic creative testing. And here's my response. Good question. There's only one way for me to accurately answer this. It's time to test it myself. When I make promises like this, I follow through. So you know what I did immediately after posting that is I actually went and put money behind it and tested it myself. And I've got the answer for Rafi and I'm sure a lot of other people, because what I found is it worked tremendously well. So if you haven't yet, join up on the Facebook Ads Collective group. I'll link it down in the description. There is so much value being provided in this group right now. So I take comments and questions from you guys very seriously, and if I don't have an answer like in this specific situation, I'll figure it out and I'll make a video just like this one. So in this video, I'm going to break down how I went from averaging a 2.06 return on ad spend to over a 3.38 return on ad spend utilizing dynamic creative testing. So shout out to Rafi, because finding a way to answer his question actually generated myself more revenue, and I think it's going to bring you guys a lot of value and hopefully drive more revenue for yourself too. So let's jump into exactly how I did this. So this store was launched 9 days ago. Over the course of the 9 days, I spent $1,500 and generated around $5,000 in revenue. Some of the sales weren't tracked by these campaigns, so the ROAS is actually around 2.3 when I calculated it myself. Within my 2 campaigns, I was testing a total of 3 different ad variations. What I was specifically testing with these though was the video itself. I was utilizing the same copy and the same headlines with the same call to action, but I had made completely different videos for every single ad. What I found is that the first ad variation I created was really driving the majority of my revenue. What I currently have selected is the first variation of the ad, so as you can see, it was driving a very good return on my ad spend. When I filter that first ad variation, you can see that the overall click-through rate with the purchase objective was 2.58. My personal goal for every ad that I launch is to have a click-through rate of anywhere between 3 to 5%. That's the optimal percentage. Anything above 5 is like a cherry on top for me. At this point, I had proven the brand and product's profitability. My average order value is $92. But at scale, you have to remember your margins are most likely going to shrink. So it's really important to optimize and place a huge emphasis on improving your click-through rate as much as you possibly can. That way, the broader you get with your audiences, the better it will perform. So when I saw Rafi's question about the dynamic creative testing, it kind of flipped a switch in my mind. And it made me think, I already know the best video to use, but I need to focus on my headline and my copy to improve that click-through rate before I start putting a couple $1,000s behind it per day in ad spend. So here's how I set up the creative testing to find my optimized ad. I created a CBO campaign with the initiate checkout objective, utilizing that same testing strategy that I recently released. I'll link it down in the description if you haven't seen that yet. And I called it CBO testing performers. I called it performers because I dropped my top 4 profitable audiences into this campaign. I kept all of those audiences separated out, and then I created a single stacked audience with every single one of the winners inside of it. So I had my 4 separate winning audiences and 1 stacked with all of them together. As you can see, I have all 4 but 1 paused right now, and I have the stacked dynamic creative testing audience unpaused. But when I launched this, it was reversed. So I had the 4 winning audiences unpaused and running. They were doing an active ad spend. I set it for like $100 per day. I let it spend about $70 on those ads so I could get baseline metrics for, recently with my most updated pixel setup and whatnot. Once I had a good amount of impressions on each one of those audiences and consistent data coming in, I paused the 4 and I launched my dynamic ad set alone. That way I knew exactly how much it was going to be spending. Now I'm going to use this breakdown tool by Dynamic Creative Asset to show you the differences in the copy and headline optimization that I found. So if I break it down by text, what you're going to see here is if I sort all of these winners by click-through rate, link click-through rate, I had 7%, 6%, 5%, they were performing really well. And what I found is that the current text that I was using was my lowest click-through link rate at 4.38%. Out of the 3 text variation, copy variations that I use, I found that was averaging a 7% click-through rate. So immediately I knew this was the optimized copy I should utilize. I then simply used the breakdown tool to check out my headline. And I found that the current headline I was using was actually performing second best. One of the new headline variations I did was averaging almost a 7% click-through rate and was getting a very, very good cost per initiated checkout. It was actually the lowest out of all of my winning audiences. I then wrote down those winning headline and copy, went into my ads headquarters, and this is how I set up my ads. That way I can just quickly find them and copy and paste the ad ID. I created a new video ad. I called it Ad 1 Optimized. I used the same video, improved the thumbnail, and then dropped in my winning headline and winning copy. Copied the ad ID, created a new CBO campaign with the purchase objective, duplicated my best 4 audiences that I had in that test campaign into the CBO campaign, dropped it in with the new winning optimized creative. And in the first day, I averaged a 3.4 return on ad spend. It was actually closer to 4. It didn't track one of my $120 purchases, so it was definitely closer to 4. And this new creative is performing tremendously well. So that is how I utilize dynamic creative testing to really up my return on ad spend. And I think it's super important to optimize your creatives prior to scaling. And even if you're not finding success, if you're seeing like a low click-through rate, use this dynamic creative testing strategy to find a new optimized creative. And what you'll see is your click-through rates will go up, cost per click is going to go down. You're going to see some more results at a cheaper cost. So big shout out to Rafi for asking that question. I probably, wouldn't have done this if he wouldn't ask it. It just like flipped the switch in my head. And I wanted to share it all with you and also share it with Rafi to answer his question with confidence. If you guys are new to my channel, I drop a video just like this one a minimum of 2 times per week. Always super high quality. I focus on bringing tremendous value in my content. So if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out. And if you could do me the favor of hitting that like button and showing my channel support, it's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Dylan out. If you're looking for something to watch next, I highly recommend one of the 2 videos up on the screen. They were handpicked by myself, so check them out. Highly, highly recommend them if you're interested in Facebook ads and e-com.